and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Al.
See what we got here. We got two employees, Amy Curley and Louis Tyler. Neither one of them are here, or any of them here. Neither one of them are here. One 5 years of service, Amy with 20 years of service. We appreciate their services. Okay, item number 1.
I make a motion to approve item number 1 on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Elizabeth Arnold, Commissioner Arnold, second by Commissioner Warren. Approve item 1. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. So carried. Item 2.
Make a motion to approve item number 2 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold. Approve item 2 on the agenda. Approve the cash disbursements and electronic payments. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 3.
Make a motion to approve item number 3 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold. Approve item 3 on the agenda. Approve the following seminar requests or payments for seminar requests. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 4.
Make a motion to approve item number 4 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold. Approve item 4 on the agenda. Ratify and approve the termination of Shane Neal from the part-time position of corrections officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item number 5.
Make a motion to approve item number 5 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold. Approve item 5 on the agenda to ratify and acknowledge the hiring of Amberly Warner from Susquehanna, the union eligible full-time position of Establishment Specialist Court Liaison for the recommendation of President Judge. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 6.
Make a motion to approve item number 6 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 6 on the agenda to ratify and approve the transfer of Matthew Orsh from the position of full-time corrections officer to the open union eligible position of part-time corrections officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 7.
Make a motion to approve item number 7 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 7 on the agenda, ratify and approve the transfer of Vincent Charmonti from the position of part-time corrections officer to the open union eligible position of full-time corrections officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 8.
Make a motion to approve item number 8 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 8 on the agenda, approve the hiring of Colton Lax of Binghamton, New York to the non-union full-time position of IT technician effective October 25th. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 9.
Make a motion to approve item number 9 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 9 on the agenda, to ratify and acknowledge transfer of Donald McRae from the County Detective Substitute SRO to the non-union position of County Detective School Resource Officer for the District Attorney, per diem rate $160 a day, not to exceed $29,760 for the Elk Lake School, total reimbursement. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 10.
Make a motion to approve item number 10 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 10 on the agenda, ratify and acknowledge the transfer of John Bradley from County Detective Substitute SRO to the non-union position of County Detective School Resource Officer of the District Attorney at a per diem rate of $160 a day, not to exceed $29,760. This is for the Forest City School District, total reimbursement from the school district. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item number 11.
Make a motion to approve item number 11 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, signed by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 11 on the agenda, approve the agreement between Susquehanna County Children and Youth Services and CWIS data sharing agreement for the federal fiscal year of 2019-2020. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 12.
Make a motion to approve item number 12 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, seconded by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 12 on the agenda, to approve the assurance of compliance participation agreement between Susquehanna County and the State of Pennsylvania Office of Children, Youth, and Families for the federal fiscal year 2019-2020. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Item 13.
Make a motion to approve item number 13 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 13 on the agenda, approve the 2018 Susquehanna County Emergency Operations Plan. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Item 14.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 14 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 14 on the agenda, approve the 2018 Susquehanna County Coop Cog Plan. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 15.
Make a motion to approve item number 15 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, signed by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 15 on the agenda, to approve and adopt resolution 2018-06, the Susquehanna County Hazard Mitigation Plan effective October 11, 2018. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 16.
Make a motion to approve item number 16 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, signed by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 16 on the agenda, to approve resolution 2018-07, authorizing the resolution revision of the county's FFY 2016 Community Development Block Grant Program. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 17.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 17 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, signed by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 17 on the agenda, to approve resolution 2018-08, fair housing. Fair housing what?
For fair housing.
For fair housing. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 18.
Make a motion to approve item number 18 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 18 on the agenda, approve the proclamation 2018-17, October 2018, as Bullying Prevention Awareness Month. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 19.
Make a motion to approve item number 19 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 19 on the agenda, approve proclamation 2018-18, October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Questions or comments? Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to invite you guys and everyone here to October 17th. We're doing our empty place at the table from 3 to 6:30 to recognize the victims in our county and Lackawanna County that have been affected by domestic violence. So it's at the United Methodist Church here in Montrose.
And it's open to the public,
Yeah.
right?
This is Tiffany White, or Allie White, I'm sorry, Allie White, and she's a
Right.
teen counseling advocate,
Yep,
okay, with the Women's Resource Center.
yes,
And she's here to get the proclamation today, so thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? Item 20.
Make a motion to approve item number 20 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, approve item 20 on the agenda, approve the 2019 holiday schedule. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Number 21.
Make a motion to approve item number 21 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 21, to advertise for bids the following vehicles: 2001 Dodge Durango, 2003 Saturn Ion, 2003 Hyundai two-door coupe, 2008 Jeep Liberty, and a 2012 Ford Raptor. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Item 22.
Make a motion to approve item number 22 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 22 on the agenda, to open an award following the review of the solicitor sealed bids for the sale of the Energy Dynamics Power Systems generator. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see what we got here. All right, this one is from Eric Corbin, and it's 1820. Looks like it's from the Naples. Yeah, the Naples, they bid 800. Well, they definitely aren't the high bidder. And we got one more here. Let's see what we got here. This crap. JR Electric in Binghamton, $2,010. Hopefully JR Electric will get it as long as it meets the review of the solicitor. So that's that. All right, brings us to public comment. Billy?
Item 14, co-op cog, I'm just curious, what is it?
That's the continuing operation of government. It's a plan for the setting up and moving of government should something happen to this facility. Any other questions, comments? Okay, yes.
Yeah, Chuck Winch of Dimmick Township. I was on the phone the other day with my state rep, Tina Pickett, about the pending winter weather coming and the condition of our roads. I'm sure you're thrilled about hearing about this situation, but it's becoming a matter of public safety. I addressed two issues with her. One is, when does she think, that from what her discussions are with PennDOT, the repairs are gonna be made, especially to the shoulders of the roads where they're, she said that she was given a date of December 15th, which she stated she doesn't feel is soon enough because winter weather is right around the corner. She asked Harrisburg to consider hiring some private contractors to come up, and the other issue was, as I asked her about Governor Corbett's bill 4 years ago when he tacked on the extra gas tax, which was supposed to be specifically designated for road repairs. And she stated that the majority of that money is going to the more heavily populated areas for major projects, highways, bridges, interchanges. And she expressed to Harrisburg that we're not seeing, doesn't seem to be coming up here. The road situations with slippery roads coming up, these rubber cones on the side aren't gonna prevent someone from sliding off. Some of the drop-offs are 4 or 5 feet deep. They just need to be filled in. It brings back something, you know, I'm sure you've been hearing this for years, but the roads up here in Susquehanna County have just been going downhill and downhill. I've been here in Dimmick for 42 years. I've never seen it this bad. Representative Pickett says she's trying to get a meeting with the Secretary of Transportation to come up here and drive around the roads. Well, about 40 years ago, Carmel Sirianni did the same thing. The Secretary came up here, they drove around the roads, they acknowledged they were a mess, and that was almost 40 years ago. I don't know what the systemic problem is with getting money up here to help with these roads. But it's not only, I was in Maine a few weeks ago, and their politicians up there are running ads saying, we're gonna help fix the roads. And I'm driving around, I'm like, fix the roads, they're beautiful, even in the remote rural areas. I traveled through 5 states to get home. I came home through Binghamton. When I got on Route 29 to come into Pennsylvania, I thought I was driving into a third world country. Okay, I'm done.
Well, at our last commissioners meeting, I did go into quite detail about the roads and conditions, and I think the Independent had a big article in the paper about it.
Yeah, I read that. I know you're.
So, you know, again, you know, just to refresh, you know, here's the issue. You know, 10 years ago, we had close to 170 workers in this county with PennDOT. Today, we have less than 70. You know, PennDOT's argument is that their budgets have not increased in many years, so the only way they can maintain their budgets is through attrition, people leaving and not replacing them and not doing things. It's a huge problem in Harrisburg. They say they don't have the funding. The legislators say they have enough funding, they're just mismanaging. But let me echo again, this has nothing to do with our local PennDOT workers. Our local PennDOT workers do a great job. Problem is, you can't do something when you don't have the tools to do it. You know, I had somebody that was upset with them the other day because they were at a bridge and you know, they were waiting for the water to pump down, they could work on the bridge. So they were sitting in their truck because it was raining out. You know, first thing everybody sees them sitting in the truck, and now they're upset, oh, nobody's doing anything, they're sitting in the truck. Well, they're sitting in the truck instead of standing outside in the rain, but they're waiting for a pump to pump water down that's not big enough to pump the water down because they don't have a bigger pump. So there's nothing those guys can do. Again, this is all engineers and management. So a lot of the work that has to be done in this county, my understanding from my last meeting with PennDOT, is they are going to subcontract a lot. Unfortunately, the subcontractors are busy too. So it's trying to find time to get those guys here off other jobs that they're doing. At the same time, a lot of the work, unfortunately, it's not like the old days where the local guys could just load the truck up with some gravel, go fill it in, and be done with it. You know, now everything has to have the engineer's approval, has to be certified, and of course that has to go to Dunmore, then probably to Harrisburg, and that all takes time too. So it's a you know, it's a system that has gotten so huge and out of control that, you know, the service end of it is very little anymore because of all the bureaucracy trying to get something done. They do have schedules out. We've gotten copies of schedules, roads that they're working on. They did bring in crews from 3 other counties, from the 1st, I think it was the 1st to the 8th, or the 1st to the 15th they were here, working 10 to 12 hours a day trying to get some of the work done. It's over $10.5 million worth of damages to our roads from this flooding that occurred. And listen, we all agree with you. You know, it's going to be a huge problem. These things got to get fixed, and they got to get fixed before winter. The only way we can take and continue to take and get anything done is for all of us are doing it. I mean, I'm in contact with Lisa Baker and Tina Pickett and Jonathan Fritz all the time. And actually, I had to be in Harrisburg yesterday for a meeting at the federal building. But when I left there, I went over and saw Tina Pickett over at the Capitol, met with her about the roads again. And she agrees, you know, what we have to do is we have to keep the pressure on PennDOT. They've written letters to the secretary. They're trying to get somebody up here. We're doing some other things, trying to get notification to the other senators and House of Representatives of how bad it is up here. But, you know, everybody needs this, you know, the easiest thing for people to start doing is start picking the phone up and don't call Tina or Jonathan or us, you know, because where we need the calls to go is to the Secretary of PennDOT. Everybody needs to be calling Harrisburg and saying enough's enough. And if nothing else comes out of this meeting today, that needs to be the headlines. The public needs to call the Secretary of PennDOT and say, you need to get our roads fixed before somebody gets killed. And here's the worst nightmare we're going to focus with. You've got all these school buses running these roads. And you're right, there's drop-offs 4 to 6 feet. What's going to happen when one of those buses gets too close to the edge of the road and dumps a busload of kids over? And when somebody gets killed, is that going to be enough to get something done in this county? I mean, there's a lot of people here that have kids. I mean, and there's a lot of people that have kids on buses. You know, we're generally concerned that there is no focus out of Harrisburg or out of Dunmore to get these roads fixed up here and get the work done. And there's areas that have been, like Salt Springs Road and Du Bois Street and 167, 29. I mean, you can go down every state road and just about find damage on it that hasn't been fixed. We've got to get the focus on Harrisburg. We've got to get the secretary to say, okay, I'm tired of getting phone calls from the residents of Susquehanna County. We have 44,000 people in this county. If 20,000 people would call once a week down there, I think we might get a little attention out of those people down there. And, you know, all the money we pay in gas tax out of this county, and I'm not just talking about in our cars. Understand, too, we have all these water trucks running up and down the road. And they're paying a heck of a lot of fuel tax that's going to Harrisburg, that's supposed to be going to these roads. And it goes into that bottomless pit in Harrisburg. And you're right, it's all broken down, and that's the other problem, it's all broken down by a state formula based on population. So you know where the majority of the money goes. Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philadelphia. That's where the majority goes. So, which means there's little coming back up. So whatever comes up to Dunmore, they've still got to take care of all that infrastructure. They've got Interstate 80, they've got 380, they've got the Casey Highway, they've got 81, they've got all those major roads that they have to maintain. So by the time they get to us, there's little left in the kitty. And the bigger issue that you're talking about winter, and I brought this up at the last meeting, they were 15 drivers short for winter plowing right now. So that means basically they're gonna plow, you're not gonna have to worry about the cones on the road because you're not gonna be able to drive on the roads because they're not gonna get plowed. So we're in a crisis mode right now with our roads and our maintenance of the roads. And it has nothing to do with our local people, it has all to do with Dunmore and Harrisburg. So that, again, I urge everybody, pick the phone up, call Harrisburg, talk to the Secretary of Transportation, PennDOT, and say, we need to get some things done. So, that's,
Thank you.
Do you
Bill.
happen to have the phone number handy?
I don't, but I will see if we can't figure out a way to post it on our webpage. Anything else? The only other thing I'd like to bring up, there was a, I always love comics, but there was a comic in the transcript last week depicting our clock tower, and we're throwing money away and trying to fix this tower. You know, I can only say this so many times. This building is almost 200 years old, or more than 200 years old. It's falling down. We've got choices. We can either maintain this historical building and take care of it, or we can walk away from it, let it collapse, and go build a new building. But I think we have an obligation to our community and to our heritage to maintain this facility and take care of it. That clock tower that was up there, the dome on it was split so bad the water was running right through it, running right inside the building. It was completely rotted out, the structural supports inside. It was leaning almost a foot, and it was ready. There was nothing basically holding it left on the roof. Now, we could wait for it to fall off and land on Lake Avenue, and of course, it probably, our luck would land on somebody. And if it killed them, we'd be in better shape, but if it maimed them, you know, we'd be probably sued for millions and millions of dollars. And that would have cost us a hell of a lot more than it would be to fix that clock tower and do it right. So, I mean, I realize some people, it's kind of neat to sit in the public and take cheap shots and say, oh, you're spending all this money. You're right. We are spending a lot of money on this facility. This facility is the assets of the taxpayers. The taxpayers paid for all this stuff. And it's our responsibility as commissioners to maintain the facility so that it doesn't cost the taxpayers another $100 million 10 years from now to replace everything because we didn't take care of it. Perfect example is that old jail up there. That old jail up there is a crying shame as to the historical value that place could have been, but the condition it's in because it never got maintained since the day it was built. You can't even, half the doors you can't even open because of the foundation, everything shifted so bad you can't get into it. This building, 6 years ago, we had our maintenance guys shoveling coal into a furnace twice a day, 7 days a week to heat this building. And had no handicap abilities to get to the second floor on this end. So we could wait for all the lawsuits. You know, there was attorneys in Florida suing on ADAs and suing all the hotels because they didn't have lift chairs for their handicapped people to get into the pools. Well, what do you think they do to us when they find out we're dragging people up the stairs on a gurney because we don't have an elevator or a way to get them up the stairs? So it's all risk management, and some people don't understand risk management. It's all about risk management. It's understanding the risk that you have if you don't do something versus doing something. It's like the old Midas commercial. You want to pay me today, you want to pay me later. You know, you're either going to pay for it today, which is a lot cheaper doing it today than it would be 10 years from now, or paying the lawsuits. The attorney, and the only people that win in lawsuits are not the plaintiffs or the defense. The only ones that win in lawsuits are the attorneys. Everybody knows that. Attorneys get big bucks, everybody else gets nothing. So, I enjoyed the comic, but again, We have to do what's
I
right.
just wanna follow up on the clock tower. I can see why people would be upset about it, but every county seat in this country has a courthouse, and they all have clock towers. The thing was falling apart, rather than go up there and slap a coat of paint on it and a few boards, I agree.
Yeah.
It's the heart of our county.
Right.
To let it fall off would be,
Well, I had somebody say, why don't you just take it off? I said, well, the last time I knew, when they tore down Colonial Hall in the middle of the night, that didn't go over very well.
no.
Tearing the clock tower off this courthouse, I'm sure would not go very well. So, anyway,
Taking down dead trees on the green causes stir.
taking down the dead trees before they fall on somebody is a stir. So anyway, anything else for the good of the order?
Can I just, I looked up on Facebook, on PennDOT's Facebook page, and the number that's on there is 800-932-4600. I don't know if that's the right number, but that's the number on their Facebook page.
That'll get you to,
Get you somewhere.
that'll get you to PennDOT, and then you can go from there. So please post that on your Facebook, put it every place. Tell everybody to start calling. Call once or twice a week. Don't just call once, call once or twice a week. Just keep calling. And for the people that are retired, we would appreciate all their support if they would call 4 or 5 times a week. It is a toll-free number. So with that, I will take a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Yes.
You're a mess. Okay.